and gentlemen, moving from one topic to the other, we now move on to the next panel discussion. This is going to be about Investors' Delight, something very positive for Kolkata. Investors' Delight, Kolkata Commercial and Industrial Realty Opportunities. Like always, I'm going to be introducing our honorable moderator first, and then I'm going to be introducing our speakers in alphabetical order, and then I'll request all of them to please kindly join me on stage together. And just a humble reminder to all of you, those who have joined us late, if you can please kindly keep your mobile phones in silent mode. We don't want to distract any of our speakers. So if you have arrived late and if you missed out the previous announcement, please kindly keep your phones in silent mode. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a panel discussion on Investors' Delight, Kolkata Commercial and Industrial Realty Opportunities. To moderate this session, we have with us today Shubho Routh, Senior Director and Head, ILS Services East, CBRE. Shubhoji has 23 years of experience covering logistics and office leasing, industrial land and investment sales. Working with CBRE for the past 7 years, he is the East Head for Industrial Land and Logistics. To join him on stage, we also have with us today BP Singh Roy, Additional Director, Keventer Realty Limited. BP Singh Roy has dedicated 30 years to the realty sector in domestic and international markets. He has spearheaded the challenging assignments of the regional head, East BHW Birla Home Finance Limited. He was head marketing and business development East DLF Limited as well, and has also acted as advisor to MD, Sales and Marketing Siddha Group. He has held the position of Assistant Vice President, Sales and Marketing at Imami Realty Limited, and has also been affiliated as a member of the British Indian Association. We also have with us today Gaurav Dasgupta, Partner, Real Estate, Corporate and Commercial, Khaitan & Co. Gaurav ji has more than 18 years of experience in the profession and has advised some of the most reputed international and domestic clients in complex transactions. His specialization lies in real estate and corporate and commercial laws. He has advised various clients in drafting construction contracts, project finance, EPC contracts, SEZs, joint development agreements, infrastructure, and governmental contracts, including the preparation of bid documents as well. In recent times, he has also advised clients on various aspects of RERA and RATA as well. We also have with us today Joydeep Paul, Senior Director, Occupier Strategy and Solutions, Knight Frank, India. With more than a decade of robust experience in the commercial real estate industry, Joydeep ji has transacted multiple deals for clients across various sectors such as IT, consulting, engineering, BFSI, NBFC, Flex, and so many more. His core competencies include business development, sales, negotiations, commercial leasing, problem solving, strategic thinking, delegation, team management, and customer relationship management. We also have with us today Rajdeep Bhaduri, Senior Business Leader, Real Estate Strategy and Commercial Leasing, DLF Limited. Rajdeep Bhaduri is a seasoned real estate professional with nearly 2 decades of experience in corporate strategy, commercial leasing, and business transformation. Currently, he's heading the commercial leasing business East at DLF Limited, and he has successfully closed transactions exceeding 2.5 million square feet, driving market expansion and client acquisitions. With expertise in business development, P&L management, and stakeholder negotiations, Rajdeep has played a pivotal role in shaping large-scale real estate projects all over the country. His leadership in sales, marketing, and asset management has contributed to significant revenue, growth, and operational excellence in the sector. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have a huge, huge, huge round of applause for our panel for the next session? Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have our panel for the next session on stage, please? We'll request our honorable panelists for the next panel to please join me on stage. There they are. Give them a big round of applause, please, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, Kolkata, you're known for being the city of joy. Let's spread some joy, and I'm sure they will be motivated all the way more for a thrilling session going forward. You sit as per this arrangement. Yeah. Quite a bit of swapping and changing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be about Investors' Delight, Kolkata Commercial Realty Opportunities. Stage is set, panel is ready. Over to you, sir.
So, very warm afternoon to all. I think it's a little warm outside, ain't it? And after the lunch, if you people are feeling a little drowsy. So I have some numbers to throw at you, which will make you all happy. So I'll talk about numbers of office leasing and warehousing in the year 2024. And these numbers are pretty impressive. So in office, we've leased a record number of 1.3 million square foot in 24 with clients spanning industries like BFSI, IT, ITES, Flex, and all. On the warehousing front, we've done record numbers also. Calcutta grossed leasing of about 6.5 million square foot, which is very, very high compared to all the years which we've done. And these were across industries like a e-com, a quick commerce, a 3PL, and such. Now, since this topic is about investors, now investors would invest in stock which is upcoming or supply which is going to come up. So Kolkata again, there's some impressive numbers over here. There's about 2 million square foot in spite of the office space crunch. There's about 2 million square foot of office space which is going to come up in the year 2025. And on the warehousing front, there's about more than 7 million square foot, which is up for grabs. Now, as per various research reports, the expected absorption is again going to surpass what we've done in 24. Office, we look at about 1.5 million square foot, and in industrial is about 7 million square foot. Now, with this impressive numbers which Calcutta has done over the past year and with the supply, I start by asking my first question to Rajdeep. Rajdeep, with the new buzzword in GCC, or a Global Capability Center, with a crunch in supply, how are developers like you gearing up to fulfill this demand in the medium to short term?
Well, thank you, my fellow panelists. Before I start, I'd just like to throw in some numbers. Last year, 2024, the office leasing market was approximately 77 million square feet, out of which the GCC contributed to around 28 million.
This you're talking nationally?
Nationally, yeah. So that's almost 28%, 40% roughly, translates to roughly 40%, close to 40%, being GCCs. Why this sudden buzz of GCCs? Today, if you go by the first 10,000, or we call it the top MNCs of the world, be it a product company, be it a services company, be it manufacturing, be it health, everybody is a technology company packaged in one form or the other. So technology becomes the fulcrum for every company to grow and to have the vision of creating a larger corporation. They need to be in a place where the collaboration happens. They have ample talent pool and they have ready resources. Now we are talking of places which are low tech or either no tech. So in terms of availability, India gives them that edge that, obviously once you are present in India, it becomes your centralized place. So earlier what was happening was with all these companies, either they were, sort of not gearing up to the technology, or they had processes which was outsourced to the third-party vendors. Now, for a sustainable long-term growth, for any company, it requires to be all in under one umbrella. There needs to be an integration in processes for the future growth. And that's how the GCCs, the buzzword has come, the capability centers are getting development. Very recently we have got the news that even McDonald's are putting up their GCC in Hyderabad. Now, the GCC part was, not that it was not there in India. It was there very much. Now, with the cost arbitrage, it's getting more highlighted. Look, let us give an example that in 2004-5, we had the foreign companies were paying $1 for a square feet of space. I'm coming to the real estate angle of it. So let's say they were spending $1, which was around 25-30 rupees at that point of time.
So you're talking about the SEZs?
Yeah, I mean, the foreign, the companies who were paying to Indian partners, let's say $1 for a square feet. So which is we call India a dollar market or a sub-dollar market. So essentially, they were paying 25-30 rupees. At 85, which are a market average for all the south cities, if you see Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Pune. So these are dollar markets even today, after 15 years. So cost is not an, overwhelmingly the biggest factor for them to determining to come to India. It is always there. It's the talent pool, which where I mentioned that there was people are moving from low tech and no tech zones to India because there is a ample talent pool. There is a burgeoning, middle class which is growing, which is aspirational. Now, for Kolkata, the journey seems to be, although a late, but it is happening quite organically. How? Now, even the GCCs which are present in India need to spread their, their risk. On the risk part, it so happens that, the other markets, if you concentrate too much on one market, it becomes very difficult for you in kind of disruptions. After the COVID, it has come to the light that, people can work from anywhere and any place. But the data security, the need for human collaboration, for innovation, has to happen in office. So the Kolkata market has just started picking up the GCC, bandwagon because of this hub and spoke model. And as we go forward, there will be further appetite, but it needs to come with aspirations of new class C or A grade buildings where there are ample maintenance opportunities, where there are amenities, because these people who have worked, and have seen life, or the new workforce, the new generation of workforce who have been working, outside, they have seen places which needs to be a place of celebration, a place for a reason for going to office, collaborating, having enjoyment. That fun element has to come into the building offices. So the design today for buildings is much more, diversified. You see much more of amenities being added here. And that's where I feel that there is a great opportunity for Kolkata to come into the, bandwagon and jump in.
So to take a cue from what you said, what I can figure out is that these new age, these buildings that are there, these are probably would be engaging with a lot of, the Gen Z crowd. They love a lot of open workspace, not a closed workspace. And these are all, the concept has changed of a typical office to these now. And what we can safely say is that there is a lot of scope in this kind of GCC kind of things happening, and I'm sure a lot of new inventories would come up in the long term.
So don't mind the cost. What I meant was that we need supplies, good grade A supplies, and I'm very sure that this market is ready for the absorption. Because new companies want to have that element of sustainability, the element of, frills, which will attract talents over here. Once the talent pool is, Kolkata has always been a sort of hub for talent. It's just that it has never been able to keep up with other cities. The moment you have this kind of ecosystem where you have a number of companies working together, switching from one company to the other does not make a necessarily take out the sort of aspiration for growth. So that's how the city can contribute. Once we have this ecosystem in place, I'm very sure that this would be a much, much sought after place in India.
Rajdeep, thank you. My second question is to Mr. Roy. What we've traditionally seen is that Kolkata has been mostly a market where investors have bought a lot of strata. There's a lot of strata sold which has happened. And many of these investors, as we speak, these investors are very informed. They are not only investing in Calcutta, they are investing even beyond the state. With their investment beyond the state in different asset classes, they are exposed to a lot of information which empowers them to take a choice. Now, when these investors, so Mr. Roy, if I had to ask you, that with the steady supply which is like going to come up in this year and in 26, 27 further, what is it that the developers are doing differently to attract these investors?
Okay, thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity here, and thank you Shubho and my co-panelists. Shubho, just to start off with, the commercial real estate in Kolkata had been mature, and I think it's still at that stage where you can get to leapfrog into the next stage. It is only the most important part is that you need to have those grade A buildings, and I take a cue from Rajdeep that you'll need to have the infrastructure and the ecosystem of the employee to chill, which is actually non-existent. Just a Sodexo lunchroom doesn't serve. Beyond that, there has to be something. We in Keventer, I'll start off with that. We are coming up with a grade A development. Fortunately, in the CBD, you see most of the so-called grade A developments happening in Newtown and Sector 5. We are doing it because we had a historical land parcel on a 3-acre land plot, and it's a 1.2 million square foot. Now, what are we bringing in there is to be seen. A business club, sky lounges, lavish food courts of almost 30,000 square feet, retail. Now, this is something which is going to complement the people who are working out there. Similar kinds of things need to come up, because you see, what is strata sales? Strata sales, we are just at the nascent stage of strata sales in Kolkata. If you go nationally, developers are allocating almost 20 to 40% of their portfolio into strata sales. They are listing it. The reason is a steady flow of liquidity for them, and the 8 to 12% returns which goes to the investor, instead of a 3 to 5% return on residential real estate, which the HNI and the NRI customers were going for earlier. So what is the developer, or rather what should the developer in Calcutta do, or they are doing, is first of all shifting from the fragmented smaller offices into grade A large office spaces, global standard finishes and ecosystems, so that it can attract anchor tenants and institutional tie-ups can happen, which then gives the investor the confidence to come in and invest, and therefore, has a constant and regular flow of rental yields. Other than that, you need to look at tech-driven dashboards maybe, which can give the customer an insight into what is happening in the property on a regular basis, be it construction, be it the rentals, what is happening. Give them. I think that in itself sums up. What you have to look at is the investor sentiment and give them that confidence that you are able to provide that kind of an infrastructure where you can bring in from the national level to Calcutta, which has that huge potential and that huge gap which we'll need to fill up.
Thank you. So what we can gather from what you said is that we aren't only selling 4 walls, we are selling an experience in the wholesome way.
Absolutely.
Okay, now my next question would be going to Gaurav. Gaurav, we've seen for any development to happen, the land has to be acquired first, correct? Now, we are all aware that acquiring a land is quite a cumbersome process where a lot of checks are there with due diligence and maybe with an aggregation in place and all that. What is it, maybe a PE fund or an institutional investor or maybe a national level developer should be looking forward to while acquiring large land parcels in Calcutta?
Am I audible? Okay. So before I start the answer to this, I would like to thank the fellow panelists and the people who have spoken before about the positive attitude which we should have in order to look into such investments, and that is actually what is needed most. The point is that acquiring large parcels of land is a problem in general legally throughout India. A little bit more in West Bengal because land is a little bit more fragmented, which was being discussed a little bit a while earlier. And because of the fragmented nature of the land, acquiring large parcel is a bit of a problem. Second is there are some of the land laws which are there where there are ceiling limits, etc., which are there, which need to be adhered to. So in general, it takes a little bit more time. But other than that, if these are taken into account, then the scope is huge here. So some of the things which I would want to discuss, practically what we suggest to our clients, say for example, instead of acquiring lands from individual people, sometimes get reputed aggregators or big players where some of the like Knight Frank, CBRE and other these players also bring in their expertise. So aggregators, they get the land from individual people, and then the land overall construction is done. So what you need to do is the land is acquired, mutation is done, conversion is done, the land is made a little bit ready, then a construction is done, and at this stage, if investment comes in, then it becomes easier for the players who are coming into the market for investment purpose. Sometimes what happens is in the initial stage, if the investment comes in, because of the time which takes for the things to fructify, they get frustrated and then the project does not come to a closure. So if these things are, maybe they are guided to that extent, then ultimately the project becomes viable. In fact, I mean, later we would be discussing some of the projects which have happened at a later stage. So we as a law firm have been involved in acquiring land for these people, and where we have seen practically what has happened, where they have a timeline and a plan in place, it becomes easy. Second thing is that now the government is also aware of these problems, and they have brought in a lot of policies which help regarding this. Some of the new policies like conversion of leasehold land to freehold, giving permission for holding land over ceiling limit under the Land Reforms Act, Section 14M. So there are several policies which have come up where the government is assisting the industries, which has been discussed in the BGBS summit a couple of months back. Third is the government itself has a big land bank, where WBIDC, WBIIDC and others, they have land banks which are actually ready for possession. So some of the players who would not want to wait and for aggregation, they can invest there. So there are various opportunities which are available for these players to bring in and to invest in the state. And as has been discussed, this is the central point of many states, the entire Northeast, and at least 3 to 4 foreign countries. So there is a huge opportunity, and most importantly, it is not saturated. Unlike the West India or South India, where many of the big metros are saturated, Calcutta as a metro, thankfully, is not saturated with respect to the investments, and hence the sky is the limit for us, as far as I can think of.
Like you said, that the government has large land banks where some investor can go and pick up some land, which you're right. So the government does have these kind of large land banks where they've done some industrial parks. Notably, I may call out the name of a Panagar, the one which in Panagar, which is there. Then there is one in Kharagpur. These are large land parcels where there are end clients like a Matix, like a Tata, who's taken up spaces over there, and they are running full steam. Thank you, Gaurav. My question to Joydeep would be, so Joydeep, prior my asking you, so at the starting when I said what kind of absorption in terms of office warehouse has happened, there's also something interesting which has also happened. It's a subset of the leasing. It's a so about 1 million square foot of strata office sale has happened in 2024. Okay, so with that, you know, you deal with a lot of clients and with investors. So irrespective of the asset classes, what would your advice be to developers to make their inventory investor friendly?
Correct.
What would you advise them to do?
Correct. So first of all, good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, my fellow panelists. Thank you, Realty Plus, for getting this arranged and getting us here. The first and foremost thing, there is around 4 to 5 million square feet of grade A and B real estate, commercial real estate construction which is ongoing. So which itself is a good number. The city inventory level right now is approximately around grade A inventory is around 32 million square feet. And what we are seeing in under couple of years, which is 25, 26, 27, this amount of inventory would be getting added, which itself is a very good number, and it shows that, you know, like the city is picking up now. We spoke across multiple platforms and across multiple, you know, events like this, that post-COVID, along with India, Calcutta has also touched the bandwagon, and we are getting the benefits of, you know, people coming back to office and return to office is very successful here in Calcutta. Going back to the question you asked, Shubho, the first and foremost thing what we were just discussing just before this panel is that although Calcutta has been historically a very much strata sold market, and people take up offices, and developers, they make smaller units, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 square feet. There is nothing bad in being a strata sold market, but having said that, like the holding size of this offices or any other asset classes need to be a bit larger. say for an example, if any MNC or GCC, as Rajdeep was telling about, even not that. In fact, the India-facing business clients, they're also taking up office spaces in huge numbers now. The average starting size has gone up from 5,000-6,000 square feet to 15, 20, 25,000 square feet minimum. So if any investor is buying asset and if the developers are selling those units, it's better that we focus on larger chunk units. Otherwise, that does not bring good sentiments. Along with that, EHS, ESG is a very important factor now. The government of India, along with whatever is happening across the world, carbon neutral and all those things, I mean, this is something which everyone, all the corporates, MNCs, India clients, they are really focusing on. So, more compliant buildings. So these numbers which I was just telling about, interestingly, around 62 of them have already applied for LEED certification. So it's understood like developers now, they are understanding the need of it. It needs to go along with that. The focus should be on much more efficient way of getting energy to these campuses which are getting built, or tech parks or corporate parks which are getting built. Solar energy or green power grid, waste management system has to be better, EV charging stations. I mean, we know a couple of campuses here in Newtown who have adopted these kind of initiatives, and hence they are getting a good appreciation on the rentals also. Adopting these things just not only makes it investor friendly, because an investor friendly would only become when it is more of corporate and client friendly. So these things are absolutely required.
So what was interesting is that you said even till a few years back, investors in office, they used to look at maybe at a 5,000 square foot, which is moved out to like 15 to 20. So which would mean that if when they are investing in that kind of a size, the uptick in absorption has gone up. So the end clients are also looking at a larger office than what they were doing till a few years back.
That's right. So like the average ticket size has already gone up. Along with that, I would also like to touch upon one more point. Along with commercial office spaces and warehousing, what is interesting that is happening, Calcutta has noticed the highest year-on-year absorption from the residential unit sales as well. So last year it was 16 point something percent YOY, which is the highest in India. So this is something, is a very positive sentiment, and we need to talk more about all these points along with, so when we are talking, we should be talking about all the asset classes, because this comes complementary. And it shows that more people are coming back, the more people are buying homes, and the clusters are getting developed.
Joydeep, thank you. My next question would go to Mr. Roy. So like we heard that, or like we know, that in Calcutta there is a dearth of large transactable land parcels. We've seen that this concept of vertical rise is on the high, and in the past 4-5 years we've seen the concept of vertical warehousing or vertical industrial parks, which has come in Calcutta. There's about, as on date, about 3 million square foot of these kind of parks which are fully operational and fully maybe leased out. With this concept, do you see that these kind of assets, there would be further, do we see more of these kind of assets in the long term?
Shubho, if you consider warehousing, you have very specifically 4 zones in Kolkata. One would be the Dhulagarh and Ulubedia belt, which is large logistics and warehousing. You have Dankuni and Singur, which would be the light manufacturing and industry warehousing. If you look at Barwipur and Rajpur Sonarpur, that is small and MSMEs. And then you come back to Howrah, Amta. That is where you are looking at this vertical shift from the large size, warehousing.
To add also, when you said towards the northern side of Calcutta, there are a lot of these garment parks which are there, which are a
Correct.
vertical, they've done it
Absolutely.
in that way.
So, see, there is no other option. You have rising land cost, you have scarcity of land. So the best way of optimizing FSI and getting the best per square foot rates is to do vertical developments in warehousing also. What you need now is, to drive tech into it. You need multiple, if we can get multiple, increased load capacity obviously is being considered per floor, but we also need to look at multiple tire truck parking. That is going to help. You already have freight movement through lifts and conveyor belts, but to optimize that, we need to bring in more tech. And the future is there in Kolkata because there is no other option left for us to go outside the city boundaries. And this is going to be driven by e-commerce and logistics, urban logistics. So your last mile deliveries and wants to be located near the consumption bases, which is Newtown, which is Howrah, which is EM bypass. So therefore, there is no other option but to build these things in those vertical formats.
Sure. Thank you. Going back to Rajdeep, so Rajdeep, since you have office buildings outside Calcutta also, in the NCR, in Chennai, in other cities also, where newer properties have come up. So the new concepts of what Joydeep even touched about, the concept of a ESG, EHS, which is happening. What is it that you are doing differently in those cities, which you also think of maybe replicating here?
So, to touch upon this point, my first submission is that ESG is no more a sort of utopian concept. So it's no more that some developer wants to create a value add so that and market the product. It's now a law in the country. So the ESG goals globally to be aligned with the companies, and I just was mentioning about GCCs and obviously other countries, including Indian companies. The ESG goals are quite sacrosanct to them. It's not about, taking a piece out of the ESG requirements and not fulfilling the others. It's all has to be in sync. Everything has to be reported. A framework has been created. A sort of report mechanism has been already drawn. So ESG and best part of it is that today the real estate is bound by ESG because there are ESG funds. The funds are also tied to ESG goals. So let's say you have very large funds, which are real estate funds, which are typically having embedded ESG requirements. So you can't escape the requirements which needs to be fulfilled. Now, I'll give you a very small example. First of all, let's come to the environment. I mean, obviously, Delhi is, we know all how polluted it is. And given that the PM2 levels had been at a record high, we had, during the COVID period, we had already changed our, HVAC filtration system. And we took out an ad that the outside ambient, air quality was this, and this is the inside office air quality. You'd be surprised to know the next day attendance was much more than average. It was almost 40% higher than the average. So this is something which not people are taking it lightly. So once you are spending 12 hours a day in an office environment, you have to have those health goals kept in mind. The sustainability impact, which Joydeep briefly touched upon, we are very conscious to that. Right from COVID stage, we had been, alive to that. We have been taking so many, initiatives. Water recycling is something which we have, got net zero, lead net zero for all our projects across India, also in Kolkata. So it's no more a statement. It is what we want. The intent is very much clear. The waste management for the particular park is being processed within the park and then used in gardening. So the sustainability part has always been ahead of in fact, it has been one of our pillars for our growth. And we have maintained this robust functioning system from a very early stage. We use the non-potable water for gardening, so nothing goes to waste. Regarding governance part, as I told you, that there has been, mechanisms which has been inbuilt now, that the framework is there, the reporting system are very, very, rigid. We do internal audits, and the audits are on ESGs. It's not a financial audits. We do audits on the ESG. And I'm very sure that, even in Calcutta, more the developers are, trying to develop the product. They will inculcate and they will sort of imbibe this philosophy and move ahead. So it's a win-win for all. I mean, let's say for the developers, they get access to funds. For the occupiers, it is more to get from how they can attract talent, keep their talent intact, keep their flock in the office, where they can collaborate, where they can innovate. And obviously for the investors, because they are putting money which are much more sustainable and have longevity for years to come.
Rajdeep, thank you. I am told that we are running a little late, so I have a couple of questions to Gaurav and Joydeep. Will request if you can keep it a little short, the answer a little short. So my next question is to Gaurav. So Gaurav, during an investment cycle, so while an investor is investing, either they are investing so let's talk about a pre-leased asset. So when an investor is investing, should he be focused more on the tenant in which the property is, or should he also equally focus on the developer who has the asset?
So basically, both are actually important, but it also depends upon at which stage the investor wants to come in. So if the investor doesn't want to spend a lot of time and has a little bit more money, then it would be better to come at a later stage and to more focus on who the developer is and at a tenanted stage. Whereas if the investor, so here actually gives an opportunity to different classes of investor. Say a foreign investor who doesn't want to spend too much time can come in at a much later stage when everything has already been prepared and probably invest in the SPV. Whereas a domestic investor or an investor who can spend a bit more of time and resources can come in at a much earlier stage, right from the land acquisition stage, and maybe make it fully ready and then pass on to a different investor. Like for example, the ESR investment which happened from an Indian player, we were involved, and the entire thing happened in about 7 to 8 months to 1 year's time, including everything, and including government approval, because they came in at a later stage when things were more or less ready. So, but to be more precise, what is more important is to have the right partners in the game, good real estate advisors, good lawyers, and good aggregators who would help you and guide you in a cycle of investment, either at an initial stage or a later stage.
Thank you, Gaurav. My final question for the session goes to Joydeep. So, Joydeep, with the current fiscal policies and with the lower mortgage rates, and there's an uptake in the absorption which is happening, and in office, in industrial, and where the sentiments for pre-leased is pretty steady, why should an investor prefer Kolkata over any other major metros?
So yeah, okay, so now I will slightly touch upon what Mr. Roy said earlier. Thankfully, we have not touched the brim yet. I mean, there is more room for us. So if there is more room for us, and if we are seeing steady activity across all verticals of real estate, this is a perfect time. I mean, see, I mean, if I talk from the office perspective, whatever vacancy numbers shows, but actual vacancy numbers for grade A inventory, which good clients that take up, be it GCC or India facing, is hovering around 8 to 10% across Sector 5 and Newtown, and that is the area where most of the absorption, 70 to 80% of the absorption takes place. Just to give one more example here, so it's been said, for when we pitch to our flex clients, we do say to that, कि boss अभी business उसी का पास आएगा जो पहले जाकर जगह book करेगा. So it's the same way. I mean, if there is good inventory available, go up, take up the spaces. Today and tomorrow, you are getting the return. It has just started. Thankfully, we are in the correct time. We just need to understand the opportunity of it and get along with it. And also, yeah, with the cut in repo rate and eventually the cut in lending rate, that would drive some positive sentiments for this.
Joydeep, thank you. I think we've had a pretty engaging session where we touched upon the various investments, where we spoke on the strata sales was more. But to give you a perspective that Kolkata has not only been, a strata sold market, there are institutional investments in Calcutta which has happened over the past years. And just to name a few of them, investors like a Xander, like a E-Shank Redwood or a ESR, Capital Land, Milestone Capital Advisors, there's Phoenix, there's Blackstone, there's a Brookfield, and there's a New Vernon, which have or had invested in Calcutta, and they remain invested. So to sum up, we can say that Calcutta is definitely a city which sees a lot of potential. There's a lot of activity which has happened, and there's a lot more which can happen. To end that, if there are any questions from the audience, please.
Please have them. Thank you so much. Yeah. That also works, of course. That's an add-on. Yeah, you're pretty spot on in that, ma'am. And just like ma'am is leading the way, can I have everybody clapping and appreciating, please? And just the point that I wanted to highlight was that, of course, I'm sure audience will have pertinent questions. You can connect offline because we're running late. So in the meantime, I'll request Mr. Raj Pachauri from Insomniacs to please kindly join me on stage and give away the token of appreciation to our esteemed speakers over there. Everybody over here, once again, please, Zor se taali for the knowledge and insights that they shared. Thank you so much.